Hello, and welcome to this video introducing you to text purpose. Text purpose is about the reason why somebody has written a piece of text, and that will help you to understand the message that they want you to have. First of all, we need to look at what is text. Basically, that's anything that's written. So that can be emails, information from local councils or businesses, something that's written on an envelope, a website, local business information. It can also be text messages, words that are written over images, newspaper articles. Anything that's written is text. The aim of this PowerPoint is to help you to understand the different reasons for texts. We look at 4 different kinds. There are others, but if you can understand these main 4, that will help you to get an overall picture. We'll look at them in more detail through the video. The 4 types are persuasive, informative, instructive and descriptive. The video also aims to help you to recognize the different clues that tell you which text type it is, so we'll look at the methods that the writers of each type use. Texts are written for different reasons. The reason for writing equals the purpose, hence text purpose. We change the methods that we use to get the message across depending on the purpose for writing, so we use different techniques for different types of message. It's helpful to understand these different purposes and the methods that they use. This will help you to understand the message of the text and also how to respond. You need to think about who has written the text and who is it for is most important. Who's the audience? Key questions to help you to recognize the purpose. Think about why the text has been written, what the writer of the text wants to achieve, and what methods are used to achieve that. So think about something that you've either written or read recently. Why was it written? What did the writer want to achieve? What did they want you to understand? Or if you wrote to somebody, what did you want them to understand or do? And what methods were used to achieve that? The 4 main types of text purpose that we're going to look at here are persuasive, that's trying to get you to buy or do something. Typically adverts use persuasive messages. Instructive, telling you what to do or how to do something. Typically that can be a recipe telling you how to cook something, or an instruction manual telling you how to put a new piece of equipment together. Informative texts give you information about something, so that can be websites, letters from an organisation, and descriptive texts are trying to give you a mental image of something. Typically these are stories, magazine articles, somewhere maybe a holiday information brochure will give you a good picture of the place that you're looking at. So the first purpose that we look at is persuasive text. Typical persuasive texts want to convince you to buy or do something. Persuasive text is also used to try and convince you to have a certain opinion. Can you think of any examples of persuasive texts that you've read recently? What were they? Do you know what techniques they used? Examples of some typical persuasive texts are adverts, healthy eating or living information leaflets, a text, email or letter from a friend or family member trying to get you to do something. Could be cooking lunch for Auntie Agnes. Community group websites encouraging you to join them. Political information. Perhaps a particular party would like you to vote for them, so they will use persuasive text to try to convince you. Different texts use different methods. Some of the things that can help you to recognise a persuasive text are strong adjectives and emotional words. Those are words like wonderful, fantastic, horrific, horrendous, awful, ones that make you feel emotion. Exaggeration, that's making it sound bigger or more than it is. For example, I've had 1,000,000 phone calls from companies that I don't want to talk to. That's exaggeration. Rhetorical questions, those are questions that don't really need an answer. An example might be, have you seen the weather today? Facts and statistics are often used in persuasive texts. Facts and statistics are used to try to persuade you to see it from the writer's point of view. There can be good use of capitals, colour and exclamation marks to make their point clearer. Repeated words, keywords that they want you to remember. Use of personal pronouns to involve you more in what they want. I, you, we, they make you feel part of it. Present tenses to talk about habits, routines, things that happen very often. That's the tense that I'm using now, in the present. Powerful verbs, stronger ones. Instead of say, you might use whisper or shout. Instead of walk, you might use creep. Persuasive texts sometimes use figures and statistics to try and convince you. Numbers can often be used to let you know how many other people are persuaded by this. Which of the clues above can you see in examples on the next 2 slides? Do you notice anything else? You can either pause here and go and complete some practice activities about persuasive texts, or you can carry on and learn about the other text types before doing the practice activities. Our next text type is instructive text. Instructive text tells you what to do or how to do something. Typical examples of instructive text are, or before we look at that, have a little think about whether you can think of any examples of instructive text that you've read recently. Something telling you to do something or how to do something. Some examples are how to cook something, recipes, for example. How to set up a new piece of equipment, like fitting a child seat in your car. On the front of your exam paper, there is instructive text. It tells you how to do the exam. How to register to vote will be an instructive text. Methods used in instructive texts are direct language. Unnecessary words are left out. They sometimes use diagrams or pictures to help with understanding. They sometimes use tables or bullet points to make it clearer. It's written as though the reader is being spoken to directly. They often use must not, do not, to be clear and give you instructions. They often use imperative structures, leaving out the personal pronouns and putting the verb at the beginning of the sentence. That is sentences like, open the letter, read the instructions. Those are imperative structures. Which of the clues above can you see in the examples on the next 2 slides? Do you notice anything else? You can either pause here and go and complete some practice activities about instructive texts, or carry on and learn about the other text types before doing the practice activities. We're now going to look at informative text. Informative texts are used to tell you about something or advise you. Can you think of any examples of informative texts that you've read recently? Some typical examples are letters from the school or local council, websites, e.g. about local services, information leaflets, maybe a newspaper article advising you about temporary roadworks or changes to your water supply. Like the others, informative texts use specific methods, and these clues can help you to understand their message. They don't generally repeat themselves. They contain facts. They give information in a clear way. They often introduce the subject first and then give more detail. They can use lists, tables, images, diagrams and bullet points to make the information clearer. Which of the clues above can you see in the examples on the next two slides? Do you notice anything else? You can either pause here and go and complete some practice activities about informative texts, or carry on and learn about the other text types before doing the practice activities. Next, we're going to look at descriptive text. A descriptive text normally wants you to be able to imagine or picture what it's describing. Typical descriptive texts include stories and novels, magazine articles, holiday or travel brochures and websites. Methods used in descriptive texts. They normally make good use of adjectives and adverbs to help set the scene. We'll have a look at some examples of these in a second. They describe how things look, feel, smell, sound and taste to really engage the reader. They use comparisons to help you with the picture. They use a variety of tenses to show sequences of events. Which of the clues above can you see in the examples on the next two slides? Do you notice anything else? After a fairly peaceful night, I woke up confident that the phone numbers from Ginny would solve my problems with completing my tax online. No such luck. All lines to HMRC were dead this morning. But after another terrible 2 hours I spoke with a human. You'll be pleased to know that all my calls and efforts are on record. HMRC accept the fault is theirs, not mine. The deadline is extended to February the 15th and beyond if not resolved in time. I now await their next move. Hopefully, Mother. That's the end of our different text types. Just think for a moment. Why has this text been written? That is the text that goes with this video. What does the writer of the text, that's me, want the reader, you, to achieve? Why have I written it? What do I want to happen? And what methods have I used to achieve that? Understanding and recognizing the methods can help you to understand the purpose. Understanding the purpose can help you to understand the message. That's why it's important. You can go and complete some practice activities now about text purpose. If you have any questions about text purpose, please put your question on the course forum and someone will answer.